Hello, hi, and welcome to Sandpaper. So last video sound of level of complaint asile. My laptop to lot of issues only ase, but I hope today the sound is extremely fine because my mic lagai. So and it is important for the sound to be extremely fine because the video today that we are going to do is supremely important. It is supremely important for us. It is supremely important for you. It is supremely important for every person june APSC Mains likhise already. So ami rokhi asilu je tinding hoilo karo because we should not celebrate early, but manme laddu to devano pai futi asile amar because enuka type or jetia ami video bu koribo jao muro olopan anxiety hoi thake ki whether I will be able to properly portray in front of you the kind of effort that we have put in the work of all the APSC Mains aspirants who were with us. আৰু যেতিয়া এনেকুৱা টাইপৰ আমাৰ ৰিজাল্ট আহে from our side, ৰিজাল্ট মানে ultimate result তো আয়েগা, but the kind of performance যে আমাৰ questions, আমাৰ পঢ়ুৱা, আমাৰ modules বিলাকে APSC Mains ৰ লগত কি ধৰণৰ performance দিছে, হেনুকুৱা বস্তু বিলাক যেতিয়া আমি দেখা পাও, that gives us a sort of encouragement, a sort of boost যে আমি যে যোনটো ডাইৰেকশনত গৈ আছো, যোনটো ডাইৰেকশনত আমি লৰা ছোৱালীক APSC Mains ৰ কাৰণে প্ৰিপেয়াৰ কৰাই আছো, that direction is correct. So this is the part 1 of the analysis video. তিনটা পাৰ্টত আমি analysis কৰিম. Today this is going to be a long video, 105 slides আছে, so we will quickly move through. আজি আমি analyze কৰিব ওলাইছো the essay and the GS1 paper of APSC CCE Mains 2024. And eto ami already announce korisu, and this is just the starting. Amar GS2, GS3, GS4, GS5 are exactly same performance hoise. Just 6 out of 8 essays have been common from our Rank Ready Mains program. Foundation le join hai. Rank Ready Mains program ote amar 6 out of 8 essays have been common. Kisuman to essay hisabe common hoi goise by God's grace and our mehnat, and kisuman amar GSO question hisabe common hoi goise বা কিছুমান আমাৰ mains crash course or topic হিসাবে common পৰি গৈছে. But 6 out of 8 essays have been common from the Rank Ready Mains program. And যদি আমি GS1 or question গিতালে যাও, actually আমি 18.5 question কব লাগে, but আমি half to এৰি দিছো. So 18 out of 20 questions have been common from our Rank Ready Mains program. দুটা তিনটা আমাৰ ফাউন্ডেশনৰ পৰাও আহিছে, but আমি ট্ৰাই কৰিছো কি আমি ফাউন্ডেশন টাচ নকৰাকে আমাৰ পাৰফৰমেন্স কেনেকুৱা হেতু আমি আপোনালোকৰ আগত প্ৰেজেন্ট কৰিব ট্ৰাই কৰো, because যেতিয়া ফাউন্ডেশন টাচ নকৰাকে we have reached it. Imagine what the students of foundation can do if they use the resources, the padhai properly. So let's begin. 6 out of 8 essays to আজি আমি first sum, then আমি আজি এই যোনটো আমাৰ ভিডিও হয় হেতুতে আমি 18 out of 20 GS1 questions দেখাম. And like always, jeneke ami prelims ot porisilu, we will show you from where it has come. Hetu directly put kori dim. Amar Rank Ready Mains program ot about 150 students asile, sob modules milai pelai. Tar agot prelims ot to more than 400-500 students asile. So junto amar 150 students ase, you can make sure from them ki what are we saying, whether it is right, whether it's wrong, because I have been getting calls from students june koi ase ba question to pohi apna logole monot pori gol, which is the sort of thing that really moves us. So ami aji sam first 6 out of 8 essays and ami essay kita discuss kori. Etu nohoy ki moi am nijor mane kiba to koi pelai we will move away. No, we will also discuss how the essays were supposed to be written. Same goes for GS1 question. আমি GS1 or কৰ পৰা আমাৰ question আহিছে, কেনেকে question আহিছে, যত আহা নাই হেতু আহা নাই, হেতু তো সদায় পাই আমি কৈ দিও, আৰু এই GS1 or যোনটো আহা নাই হেতু আহা নাই, then also I'll tell you. So let's begin. 6 out of 8 essays from APSC CCE Mains 2024 have been common from Rank Ready Mains program of Sandpaper, and 18 out of 20 questions. Jodi baki kini milai diu 18.5 hoy actually. 18.5 no hoy 19 hoy jay adha half milai pelai, but ami hetu claim kora nai. 18 out of 20 questions have come from Foundation and Rank Ready Mains program in GS1. Let's begin. So essay paper sound. These are the questions that had come. The diversity forms the cornerstone of multiculturalism. Artificial intelligence is today's Frankenstein. Beneficiary politics is a hindrance to socio-economic growth. Can money buy happiness? So, agor pra apnalok koi diu. Junto amar philosophical essay aise, etu ma philosophical essay bili dhorisu aro. Etu amar common pora nai. Baki Tinuta I will show you how it has come from our program. Next, A2, world without internet. A2 actually sort of philosophical. Do ami ki boli kom? Ami quasi philosophical topic hoy etu. Quasi philosophical topic hoy etu. To A2 amar common pora nai. Baki all three of them have either come in the form of essays or in the form of GS questions in our Rank Ready Mains program. So let's begin. First question ahisile, diversity forms the cornerstone of multiculturalism. তো এইটো আমাৰ rank ready mains program or first test হয় আমাৰ first 18টা টেস্ট আছিলে তাৰপিছত 12টা টেস্ট আছিলে this was the mini test series and গোটেই regular test series to all 30 of them kids wrote so যোনটো এটা first test আছিলে তাৰে দুটা question common আহিছে তো এই যোনটো multiculturalism question আছিলে এইটো লাষ্টত আমি কি সুধিছিলো ethnic diversity in Assam a mosaic of strength or a source of friction. So যেতিয়া আমি cornerstone of multiculturalism বুলি কৈছো so multiculturalism or both impacts থাকিব both positive and negative and হেতু কোনে আনি আছে diversity হেতুকে আমি বেলেগ language সুধিছো mosaic of strength which is positive and or source of friction which is negative. So আমি এটা Assam specific সুধিছিলো এটা generically সুধিছে but more or less if you take out the context of Assam generically you can write the same points. So ethnic diversity in Assam a mosaic of strength or source of friction first test যোনটো আমাৰ সেকশন বি 4th আছে কমন কোৱেশ্চন সুধিছো আমি এটো আমাৰ মিনি টেস্ট সিৰিজ GS 5 ৰ এটো প্ৰশ্ন আছিল ডিসকাস হাউ ethnic diversity and cultural pluralism in Assam influence policy making in areas like education language and land rights. So আমি diversity and pluralism all about already আপোনালোকক GS 5 ৰ ওপৰত কোৱেশ্চন দিছো so ये 250 marks ৰ আছিল 250 words ৰ আছিল এটো so more or less if you have written this essay এইটুক আপুনি কনসাইজ ফৰ্মত GS 5 ত লিখিছে আৰু ইয়াত লিখিছে আপুনি ইন দা ফৰ্ম অফ এন এছে so number 1 যোনটো আমাৰ এছে আহিছিলে that has come in answer test 1 of essay and also rank ready mains programmer mini test series paper 5 also etu live answer writing or eta cutting hoy etu moi itia likha nohoy amar live answer writing ot moi eneke apnalo likhi pohao so live answer writing oto etu eta juntu multiculturalism aru juntu amar kiba ase juntu amar cultural identity as a economic question likhisilu the regional aspiration in India not merely political but also expressions of cultural identity and socio-economic disparity explained with examples yar ami pura explain korisilu je positive ki hoy negative ki hoy cultural diversity etu ki dhonor ami dimension dekha pao ki dhonor ami interpretation dekha pao ami political interpretation dekha pao ami socio-economic interpretation dekha pao so hebu bostu moi live answer writing ot poraisilu. So these were the ones juntu moi tetia explanation on this. So in 3 different forms, we made you write the concepts of diversity forms the cornerstone of multiculturalism. Itia ami sao je actually amar model answer to keneke likhibo laga asile. So beleg approach use koribo lage. Bohute sake pastel likhise but moi nijor students of pastel karone bahut besi discourage koru. More mate pastel is one of the most common forms almost every XYZ student has written pastel only. So pastel or pa durot jabale moi mo students ok encourage korisilo I hope teoloke pastel or pora olop durot goise upai na thakile to pastel e likhibo but try koribo disilu moi ki pastel or pa olop durot jao so moi explanation to apnalok pastel dia na because pastel paribo hetu kotha nohoy moi temporal dimension ot apnalok dekhaisu je ancient period ot ki type or amar diversity asile or multiculturalism asile the diversity existed naturally tribe language belief system and local custom into ancient period of ki asile first salo then medieval period then colonial period then post independent contemporary and future this is the temporal approach. So multiculturalism manifested organically through coexistence not through formal policy apnalage likhi dile ancient times ot ki hoisile ancient India coexistence korisile vedic buddhic jain tribal the greek city states bilak nijor culture code exist korisile internationally likhi dile ancient period kotha that's a medieval period kotha likhi dile cultural intermixing through conquest trade religion likhile emergence of composite culture indo islamic bhakti sufi ganga jamuni tehzeebor kotha is multicultural harmony so tetia ancient period everybody coexisted together but medieval period a sort of intermixing hoy gol aru intermixing hoar pisot ki hol enuka type of ganga jamuni tehzeebi indo islamic culture bhakti sufi movement all these things came to begin. Colonial period of diversity was manipulated through divide and rule. I think you guys remember diversity aru multiculturalism. Diversity is obviously the cornerstone of multiculturalism, but in diversity aru multiculturalism or juntu scenario hoy hetu over the time keneke change hoise temporal ot keneke hol medieval ot keneke hol colonial ot divide koribo try kora gol multiculturalism was distorted into hierarchy Yet colonial contact also globalized ideas, language, education system, leading to hybrid identity. Example আমি দি দিলো তাৰপিছত আমি পোষ্ট ইন্ডিপেন্ডেন্ট অন মডাৰ্ন পিৰিয়ড মাল্টিকালচাৰালিজমটো কি হৈ আছে চালো diversity institutionalized through constitution and democratic framework. India's linguistic reorganization, affirmative action, secularism, all attempts to protect multicultural harmony. That's a contemporary 21st century key hole, globalization hole, migration hole, digital connectivity, super diverse society formation hole. Rise of multicultural challenges, xenophobia, identity politics, polarization, yet renewed emphasis on inclusivity, global citizenship, Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, etc. আৰু আমি futuristic এটা বস্তু দি দিলো future of multiculturalism depends on how society manage diversity in a AI driven globalized work. Education, digital literacy and intercultural dialogue will be the key. তাৰপিছত আপুনি এটা antithesis লগাই দিলে তাৰপিছত এটা conclusion লিখিলে ইন্ট্ৰোটো লিখিছে বাৰু হেতুলে আমি যোৱা নাই বহুত টাইম লাগিব সো আমি টেম্পোৰাৰি এপ্ৰোচত ধুনিয়াকে যোনটো আমাৰ টপিক আছিলে which is diversity is the cornerstone of multiculturalism আমি কমপ্লিট কৰি ললো next question is the AI to সাথে সবৰে like everyone who has taught AI to পঢ়াইছে I'm pretty sure and a lot of kids have written AI as well so AI যোনটো আছে যোনটো হেৰি আছে question আছে যে artificial intelligence is today's fantasy তো এটো আমি হে একে টেস্ট যোনটোত আপোনালোকৰ এই আসাম মোজাইক আৰু এটো আহিছিলে হেতুতে নাম্বাৰ 2 question টো আহিছিলে যে artificial intelligence tool for progress or a challenge to human dignity so এটো অলৰেডি আহিছে আৰু AI ৰ ওপৰত আমি কোৱেশ্চনো দিছিলো ডেইলি আনসাৰ ৰাইটিংত বিকজ মই জানিছিলো কি AI টো সবে প্ৰিপেয়াৰ কৰিছে AI আহিব তো আমি একচুয়ালি ৰ্যাঙ্ক ৰেডি মেইনছ প্ৰগ্ৰাম আমাৰ বুম টাফ কোৱেশ্চন কাটো আৰু মই বুম ষ্ট্ৰিক্ট চেকিং কৰো those of you who have like gotten marks through me you know অনুশীলন মই চেক কৰা নাছিলো so lot of kids had said কিছুমানে কৈছে কি বহুত টানকে চেক হৈছে কিছুমানে কৈছে বহুত ইজি কে চেক হৈছে but that was not with me because that was not an initiative in rank ready mains program but the point is কি artificial intelligence যে আইব আমি জানিছিলো ইমান বেছি এমফেসিস আমি তথাপিও দিছিলো কিন্তু এনেকুৱা নহয় কি 6-7 জায়গাত আমি হুদি আছো because AI সবে পঢ়ছে we know that আৰু এই ডেইলি আনসাৰ ৰাইটিংত আমি হুদিছিলো artificial intelligence is poised to transform governance and public service delivery critically evaluate the potential benefits and associated ethical challenges যেতিয়া আমি potential benefits and associated ethical challenges হুদি যাও ফ্ৰাঙ্কেনষ্টাইনৰ যোনটো কনসেপ্ট হয় তাৰ মাজত আমাৰ সোমাই যায় সো হৈ গল AI টো বাৰু আহিছে সবৰে তো AI তো আমি অলপমান বেলেগ এটা পইণ্ট অফ ভিউ এপ্ৰোচ কৰিছো ওকে AI তো আমি এটা বেলেগ এটা পইণ্ট অফ ভিউ এপ্ৰোচ কৰিছো তো আমি টেম্পোৰাৰি লট কৰিছো তো আমি পইণ্ট অফ ভিউ এপ্ৰোচত চাও যে ইন্ডিভিজুৱেল সোশ্যাল ন্যাশনাল গ্লোবাল সিভিলাইজেশনাল ডিমেনশনত আমি চাব ট্ৰাই কৰিছো ওকে সো AI মিৰৰ্স দ্য যোনটো আমাৰ ফাৰ্স্ট যোনটো হয় এটো এটা বেলেগ টাইপৰ এপ্ৰোচ হয় আই হোপ ইউ নো যে এনেকুৱা লাইক one after another so individual hoy does kismanat family hoy jay to kismanat society hoy jay nation hoy jay global hoy jay civilization hoy jay like that so individual dimension of AI mirrors the human mind ambition and anxiety just as Frankenstein lost control over his creation individuals risk surrendering their autonomy to machines to think for them over dependence dulls creativity blurs ethics and challenges what it means to be a human so each AI relationship to both individual family social এই গুটে গিটা বস্তু যদি আপনি এক্সপ্লেইন কৰিলে আপনার ডিমেনশন গিটা উঠাই যায় সো ইন্ডিভিজুয়াল আপনি এক্সপ্লেইন কৰিলে ইন্ডিভিজুয়ালত আপনার AI আউট অফ কন্ট্রোল কেনেকে হৈ গৈছে আপনি এটো মেনশন কৰিলে সোসাইটি কি হৈছে AI is transforming society automating job amplifying biases shaping public opinion through algorithms it blurs the line between truth and manipulation replacing human empathy with efficiency the monster here is not AI but the society which blindly trusts it whole society effect to apni bujale nationally bujale national level AI is both an engine of growth and a potential threat nations compete for dominance in AI weaponizing data and algorithm without ethical governance AI could undermine privacy democracy security much like Frankenstein's creation taking turn against its maker globally bujale it's a new power hierarchy between the AI rich and the AI poor nations mirrors historical patterns of exploitation climate impact cyber warfare adds new risk that's what civilizationally bujale ultimately AI's danger lies not in its intelligence but in our negligence Frankenstein's tragedy was moral not mechanical same lesson holds for AI so apni AI to lole লৈ পেলাই তাৰ ইন্ডিভিজুয়াল এফেক্টটো বুজাই দিলে দিস পয়েন্ট অফ ভিউ ওয়ার্কস দ্য বেস্ট মই হলে এটু উঠালে এটু পয়েন্ট অফ ভিউ দেখিলো হেতেন বিকজ টেম্পোরাল পয়েন্ট অফ ভিউ তো AI ওয়ার্ক নকৰিব বিকজ এনশিয়েন্টলি AI নাথাকে SDG এটা এপ্ৰোচ আছে হেতু আপনি লিখিব পাৰিলে হেতেন বাট বহুত কষ্ট হল হেতেন মানে এভৰি SDG লগত কানেকশন বহুত টাইম লাগিল হেতেন পেস্টেল লিখিব পাৰে বাট পেস্টেল মোৰ মতে তো পেস্টেল ইজ ওয়ান অফ দ্য কুইকেষ্ট ওয়ে অফ লুজিং মার্কস সো উপায় নাই যদি পেস্টেল লিখিব পাৰে কিন্তু সো মেনি আদাৰ এপ্ৰোচেস আৰ দেয়াৰ সো হেবোৰ ট্ৰাই কৰিলে ভাল বুলি মই ভাবো ওকে नंबर 3 दिस इज किवा जादू का पिटारा से निकला हुआ प्रश्न যোনটো মানে মই ভাবিছো ক'ত সুধিছো then I remember যে অনুশীলন this is not a part of অনুশীলন, this is a part of the Sandpaper Mains answer writing series for last year. তাৰ মানে আমি যোনটো মেইনছ 2023 কাৰণে যোনটো আমি Sandpaper Mains answer writing series কৰিছিলো, and fortunately এবাৰ if anyone of you who are already in Telegram আপনি যদি উপর স্ক্রল কৰিছে আমি এটা টেক্সট দিছিলো কি we have some additional docs যোনটো মেইনছৰ লগত ৰিলেটেড আছে, যদি আপোনালোকে বিচাৰে আপোনালোকে ল'ব পাৰে, এণ্ড এক্সট্ৰা 20 বুলি আমি 20টা PDF দিছিলো। আমাৰ যোৱা বছৰৰ যোনটো লাইক ইউ নো ৰেংক ৰেডি মেইনছ প্ৰগ্ৰাম, তেতিয়াতো ৰেংক ৰেডি মেইনছ প্ৰগ্ৰাম নাম নাছিলে, অকল মেইনছ আনসাৰ ৰাইটিং সিৰিজ আছিলে। সো তাৰে আমি 20টা কুৱেশ্যন দিছিলো, 20টা পেপাৰ দিছিলো, তাত ধৰক দুটা প্ৰশ্ন আছিলে, মানে 40টা কুৱেশ্যন আছিলে। সো ওৱান অফ দোজ কুৱেশ্যনছ was direct manifestation of this topic কি হয়, beneficiary politics is a hindrance to socio-economic growth। মই কি সুধিছিলো, explain the change in psychology of a citizen whose basic needs have been taken care for various schemes of the government as compared to time with no scheme coverage। তাৰ মানে এজন বেনিফিচিয়াৰীৰ কি সাইকোলজি হয় আৰু এগৰাকী নন বেনিফিচিয়াৰীৰ কি সাইকোলজিক্যাল ডিফারেন্স হয়, সেই বস্তুটো মই এথিক্সত সুধিছিলো ইন লাষ্ট ইয়াৰ কা যোনটো Sandpaper Mains answer writing series আছিলে, যোনটোৰ লগত ইনফ্যাক্ট a lot of toppers were associated। তাৰ আমি মডেল আনসাৰো দিছিলো কি আহে কি নাই, যেনেকে the beneficiary can now think of a dignified living, the beneficiary can use their limited resource, the beneficiary can think our negative too disilo। This is a direct manifestation junto question huda goisile beneficiary politics is a hindrance to socio-economic growth। So this is a direct question, direct to my both bar kolu baru, but I am so happy, so direct question which is also a reflection of the efficiency of Sandpaper and the fact that Sandpaper knows needs। Chalo আমি এটু অলপ এসডিজি এপ্রোচত কৰিলো, সো দ্যাট আপোনালোকে বেলেগ বেলেগ এপ্রোচবোৰ দেখা পায়, অলপ বেলেগ বেলেগ এপ্রোচবোৰ দেখি দি বুজি পায় কি পেস্টেল মে দুনিয়া সীমিত নাই होती है। সো বেলেগ বেলেগ আমি কি হেৰি আছে এইবোৰ চাও। সো এইটো এসডিজি এপ্রোচ হয়। তো এসডিজি এপ্রোচত আমি কি কৰিছো, আমি বেলেগ বেলেগ এসডিজি বিলাক ক্লাব কৰি লৈছো, নহলে আপুনি তো গুটেই কিটা এসডিজি লিখিব গলে তো বহুত কিটা ডাইমেনশন হৈ যাব, ইমানটা ডাইমেনশন হলে your essay will be broken। তো ইমান broken essay will not look good। maximum 3 to 4 you need to break it up to। সো আমি কি কৰিছো, ইন্ট্রো লিখিলে আপোনালোকে। তো human development is one dimension, SDG 1 2 3 4 beneficiary politics often substitutes empowerment with entitlement। Short term goals may reduce hunger or poverty temporarily, but they rarely create the human capital needed for sustained growth। Education, health and skill building, the pillars of SDG 1 to 4, require investment in capacity, not just consumption। When policy prioritizes populism over productivity, long term human development stalls। So junto amar beneficiary politics hoy in terms of SDG 1 2 3 4 eto ami eta kiba club kori lilo। Equality and inclusion, SDG 5 10 and 16, populist welfare through men to promote equality often deepens divides through selective targeting based on caste, religion or region। Such politics creates dependency rather than dignity, weakening institution and eroding trust। True inclusivity demands impartial system apni likhile। Third likhile economic growth, SDG 8 or upor, freebie and unsustainable subsidies crowd out investment in infrastructure, innovation and job creation। They inflate fiscal deficits and reduce private confidence, so on and so forth। তার পিছত আপনি লিখিলে infrastructure, innovation and sustainability upor, SDG 9 10 9 11 12, beneficiary driven expenditure limits funds for infrastructure, clean energy and innovation। When politics prioritizes votes over vision, long term sustainability goals like smart cities, sustainable, all you all wrote, governance and partnership will be another dimension to it। So moi jodi holu heten, so I would have written beneficiary politics in the SDG approach, perfect approach, dhuniya ke khap khai। enuka nohoy ki SDG likhilehe marks pabo, not that, but SDG is a fresh approach। apnar jon examiner hoy apnar dimag to ekdam fresh hoye gele, like wah wah kya likha hai, enuka type aro wahi to chahiye। We want that wah wah kya likha hai from the examiner, right? I keep on telling this to my students ki mujhe wow kar do, like make me feel wah wah kya likha hai। So hey wah wah kya likha hai to pabo karne you will have to be unique। I hope you were unique। Although apni jodi non unique eta essay likhise enuka nohoy ki you will not get marks, you will get marks if your points are valid, don't worry hobo। Now can money buy happiness, etu amar kiba nohoy, etu amar aha nai, so I will just explain it। philosophical dher kiba kibi hudisilu moi, kiba dher hudisilu ekdom dher, but nahi aya। तो can money buy happiness is something which it was not something from our papers। তো কি লিখিব পাৰো একে মোৰ মতে ইন্ডিভিজুৱেল, সোশিয়াল, ন্যাশনাল আৰু ফিলসফিক্যাল, গ্লোবাল বা এনভাইৰনমেন্টাল পইণ্ট অফ ভিউত আমি ল'ব পাৰো। এইটো অলপ ক্লোজ টু পেষ্টেল, ইট ইজ একচুৱেলি আ হাইব্ৰিড ফৰ্ম অফ পেষ্টেল এণ্ড হাইব্ৰিড ফৰ্ম অফ POV approach। দুইটা আমি মিলাই পেলাই লিখিলো যে individual point of view at the personal level money can buy comfort, security, freedom, all of which contribute to happiness. However, beyond a threshold, studies show diminishing return. Materials gains stop adding meaning. True contentment comes from relationship, purpose, and self-actualization, not mere possession. So money enables happiness but cannot substitute for it. There's a social point of view to likhi dila. Society where inequality exists and money becomes a source of aspiration and alienation. Communities with high trust, empathy, and social capital report with likhi le apni de money ki hoy. What is the relationship between money and society and happiness? Likhi dila. National likhi dila. National scale of GDP growth improves living standards, but not necessarily happiness. Countries like Bhutan, with gross national happiness both high hoy, or Nordic countries show that welfare, equality, and social security matters more than income alone. Hence, good governance and inclusive policies are better predictors of national happiness. Ethical, philosophical point of view to add to it, between hedonic happiness and eudaimonic happiness, ki hoy, ki no hoy. Money satisfies the former, desires comfort, pleasure, but not the later, comes from virtue, service, and inner peace. Ethically equating happiness with wealth reduces human life to consumption rather than character. That's a global point of view at Koidle done. I hope you have written an antithesis because that is what is required and your answer should be complete. ठीक है sir? A world without internet, ako amar aha nai. Moi koisu moi bahut gita philosophical essay dilu. In fact, juntu amar like essay program asile hetu juntu moi live demonstrate korisilu tateo moi paisilu, but philosophical essay amar common aha nai. So world without internet etu ami almost pestilor nisna eta dimension loisu. Communication dimension, without the internet, people would rely on letters, landlines, face-to-face talks, news would spread slowly, personal connection would become more local and intimate. Education and knowledge will quantity, learning would depend on books, libraries, teachers instead of instant online access. Information would be slower to reach, but perhaps more trusted and focused. Economic dimension, online businesses, banking and global trade would shrink, local market and traditional job would grow again, work would become slower but more personal and physical. Social media wouldn't exist. At a social life and cultural dimension, people might spend more time outdoors and in communities. Cultural exchange would happen through labor. Governance and power dimension, the government and big institution would control most information. Citizens would have fewer tools to share opinions widely, and activism would return to physical spaces. And environmental dimension, no data centers, few electronic devices, lower lifestyle would reduce the pollution and energy usage. So, apni gute eta multidimensional apni eta essay likhi dile. Tarpisot. Number 6 junto essay aisile, that was also a part of both our essay question, our essay paper, also GS paper. So is online learning better than traditional methods of learning? Etue amar topic asile. Ami hudisilu, let me change the color of the pen so that it's visible. Ami hudisilu, reimagining education in post-pandemic India. Reimagining education in post-pandemic India. So আমি typically এই বস্তুটো emphasis কৰিছিলো যে post-pandemic India যোনটো আমি online access লৈ গুছি গৈছো. Do we need to change it back to the offline format? যোনটো exactly has been asked, is online learning better than the traditional method of learning? So tar related, আমি জানিছিলো কি edtech wala is a very important part. Now some people will say যে education আয়েগা hi. These questions are not of education. These questions are of online learning. These questions are of edtech. Another question আমি খুদিছিলো GS3 part 1. This is rank ready mains program. Mini test series লেখা নাই তো 18টা টেষ্টৰ part আছিল এটো যে Assam's education sector was deeply disrupted during COVID-19 pandemic. Analyze the role of edtech and mobile learning in overcoming education equity in rural areas. তো এটো ডাইরেক্টলি খুদিছো মোবাইল লার্নিং এর কথা কইছে অনলাইন লার্নিং এর কথা কইছে সো দেখো এসএ তো আমি খুদিছো যদি এসএ এর আমার টপিক বু ক্লিয়ার নহয় আকো আমি খুদিছো GS3 paper 1 you need to know about online learning, you need to know about traditional method because we knew it was important. Again, the essay in common. Next. So it আমি explanation to sao ki আমি at ki dimension approach korim. Obviously আমি accessibility and reach এর কথা কমে যে online learning removes barriers of geography and time. Students can access top teachers, courses, global resources from anywhere. This especially is useful for remote learners. However, it depends on internet connectivity and devices, creating a digital divide that traditional classrooms don't face as sharply. The quality of learning. Traditional methods allow face-to-face interaction, real-time feedback, focus environments. Online learning offers multimedia tools, flexibility, and self-paced study. Each has strength. Traditional excels in engagement and discipline, online in variety and flexibility. তাৰপিছত লিখিলে social and emotional development of school and colleges are not just about content, they build communication skill, teamwork, discipline, and confidence. Online platform often lack peer interaction and informal learning that happens from corridors, group activities, classroom discussions. তাৰপিছত আপুনি skill development and employability কথা ক'লে যে online can teach modern digital skills and give exposure to global trends. Traditional method emphasize on soft skill like leadership and collaboration. And equity and infrastructure কথা লিখিলে যে online learning can widen inequality where internet access is poor, the digital divide. Traditional education, though slower, often provides more equal access to public school and community institutions. So more or less apuni all around eta likhibo paribo in different dimensions. Now this, so ekhinite I will have to give like amar falor pora happiest appreciation to two of our faculties, which is Gyandip and Brishti. So officer mentor Gyandip and officer mentor Brishti, they taught their own respective like topics in such a way যে অকল এটা সাবজেক্টত নহয়, তেওঁলোকে কিছুমান সাবজেক্টত তেওঁলোকৰ পঢ়া বস্তু সুইপ কৰি লৈ গৈছে। আপুনি GS1 তো চাব, what Gyandip taught was international relation, internet security and governance. So kisuman, especially in GS3, which I think will be the deciding paper this year, that what he has taught in internal security to sweeping kori goise paper to, even I was surprised ki kya padhaya tumne. But then when it went to Brishti, we found things. She taught ethics and she taught Indian society. There were things which we did not expect ki she has taught, and she has taught, and they have come. So special appreciation from our side to officer mentor Gyandip and officer mentor Brishti for doing an exceptional work in their rank ready mains program. So yad amar jonto question ahise, question is stereotyping the Northeast ignorance and perception. So iman simple nohoy topic to stereotyping the Northeast ignorance and perception. So is it really a stereotype, or it's a perception that it's a stereotype, or we really face what is going around, or what is the perception for the Northeastern people outside? It's a concoction of all those ideas. So this was very well taught in internal security class by Gyandip. This is a photo of internal security class, one of the most popular classes in our module. So where you find that he specifically put this topic to of stereotyping of Northeast. The lack of awareness in understanding cultural diversity, different feeling, perceived political apathy, role of external actors. So tell 1, 2, 3, 4 ke dimension gure bujaisile. Yar pisoto sake photo ase no, historical grievances, je ami kyo enuka feel koru, diversity, isolation, communication deadlock, ebor sob bostu he taught in details, and this was a part of our internal security class. So enekwa nohoy je for example eta moi ekhinte kom যে নর্থ ইষ্টৰ question আহিছে, তো আজি আমাৰ তাত এটা ইনকুৱাৰী আহিছে। one student asked তেওঁক আসাম স্পেসিফিক টপিক লাগে, আসাম স্পেসিফিক মডিউল লাগে। এইটো বস্তু আমি এতিয়া বুজি ল'ব লাগে যে this kind of modules will not work. আসাম স্পেসিফিক বুলি কোনো মডিউল কাম নকৰিব, because এনেকুৱা যোনবোৰ টপিক হয় নৰ্থ ইষ্ট ইগনোৰেন্স এণ্ড পাৰসেপশন, এইবোৰ কিন্তু ইন্টাৰনেল সিকিউৰিটিত আহিছে। তাত আপুনি ইয়াৰ মাজৰ পৰা এটো উঠাই গৈ আপোনাক কোনো আসাম মডিউলৰ এই বস্তু নপঢ়ায়। দিস ইজ এন ইন্ট্ৰিনসিক পাৰ্ট অফ ইন্টাৰনেল সিকিউৰিটি। সো যোনে আসাম মডিউল বিচাৰি ঘূৰি ফুৰিছে, আপুনি এতিয়া পেপাৰবোৰ অবজাৰ্ভ কৰক। এভৰি পেপাৰ হেজ more than 50% maybe from Assam. More than 50% questions are from Assam. So আপুনি আসাম মডিউলত কি পঢ়িব? The whole thing is an Assam module. So এই Assam module, Assam PDF, এইবোৰ বস্তু বিচাৰি গৈ থাকিলে your preparation is going to be half, because bostu ahise interconnected, bostu definitely ahise interconnected jonbur bostu ahise to apnak one specific module je help koribo, current affairs module ba kiba to kotha moi koa nai kya, that is a different thing, but apnak Assam module help koribo, apnak GS3 module help koribo. Aru apni notice korise na GS1 or question ahise, GS2 ahise, GS3 aji Assam paper kon sauk ta GS2 paper ahise, GS2 question ahise. So a paper wise jonto amar modular system ase, this is not going to work. Ami baro gome paisilu, ami release o kora nai, not going to work. Ethics o kotha belek, but other than that not going to work. Eto apni buzi lok, because we need to qualify. Ami yat nijor jibonor eta dangor porikha dibo olayse. লাইক মই এতিয়া অলপ দিন আগতে এনিমেটেড কুৰুক্ষেত্ৰ সিৰিজখন চাইছো, সেই গানটো মোৰ কাণত বাজি আছিল, তো আই থিংক ইটস আ ভেৰি গুড থিয়ৰী। মই যদি প্ৰিপেয়াৰ কৰি দিওঁ মোৰ কাণতো সেই কুৰুক্ষেত্ৰ গানটো বাজি থাকিলেহেঁতেন, বিকজ ইট ইজ ইন ফেক্ট ইয়ৰ কুৰুক্ষেত্ৰ। আৰু এই কুৰুক্ষেত্ৰত ইউ নিড টু ফাইণ্ড ইয়ৰ ৱেপন ভেৰি ৱেল। আপুনি যদি মডিউল কৰি থাকে in this the kind of APSC mains that has come, the kind of APSC mains that has come even in past, a module system, assam system, this is not going to work because eta question on apunak multiple topics include kori ahise and hetut apunak a module system to kam nidiye. So be very careful whatever you are doing when you are preparing for your mains, very very important. So etu ita internal security gyandipe pohaisile, so the ones who have read to teoloke to parise one to two topic bore yad dise junbo apni dimension likhibo paile heten. So ami dimension bor heneke explain kori disu apnalake ki likhibo paile heten. Historical and geographical dimension apni likhibo paile heten. Northeast physical distance from mainland in its late integration into the national mainstream have continued to limited understanding. Colonial policies isolated the region administratively and post independence development focus remain uneven. And all that apni likhile. Social and cultural dimension to likhile kyo enuka type hoise je it's incredibly diverse in language, ethnicity, custom, tradition, yet this diversity is often flattened into simplistic images, fashion, food, or physical appearances. Ignorance leads to generalization. They all look the same. They are all from one tribe, etc. Political and media dimension. Mainstream media coverage of Northeast is minimal and often limited to conflict, insurgency, or disasters. Positive story on culture, innovation, and youth achievement rarely make national headline. Ebu to apni jane. Education and perceptual dimension. Social curricula, but school curricula barely cover the region's history, geography, and cultural contribution. This knowledge gap leads to perception shaped by hearsay and stereotype, and show physiological, psychological, and integration dimension. The stereotyping affects how Northeast people are treated in workplace, city, education spaces, experience of discrimination, mockery, exclusion, so on and so forth. So it apni ta multiple dimension likhibala. You could I think you were able to write the essay. So the eighth junto essay hoy very very interesting essay aru regular junto amar APSC trend hoy hetutke olopman alag because APSC is generally women pro women in its type of questions that it sets. Second moi pro women dher question koraisilo and only one question disilo jot moi bigotry aru gender based crime er kotha hudisilo and hetur porai amar question ahise je recent trend in crime by women. So etu proshno hoy onukilon 2.0 last year. So Onukilon 2.0 junto ami patisilo that a very interesting question that I gave. In relation to movie Kerala Story, explain how terrorism is also related to bigotry and gender-based crimes. If you remember the story of Kerala Story, jo Kerala story hoy, to that mane joni antagonist asile, she was a woman. As a mohila asile jone student hoy pela he room to thakisile and তাৰ ওপৰত বেস কৰি হেইটো দিছিলো কি হাউ মানে কাট্টাৰ ৰূঢ়িবাদিতা অৰ্থডক্সি টু দ্য লেভেল অফ বিগট্ৰি তাৰ পৰা কেনেকে জেন্ডাৰ বেসড ক্ৰাইমস কেও কি ক্ৰাইম কৰিলে কাৰ ওপৰত ক্ৰাইম হল কেনেকে হল দিস টাইপ অফ কোৱেশ্চন আই ৰোট দিস वाज আ ভেৰি ইন্টাৰেষ্টিং কোৱেশ্চন সো এই যোনটো কেৰালা ষ্টৰী কোৱেশ্চন হয় which was in অনুশীলন 2.0 তাৰ পৰা আমি ৰিসেন্ট টেন্ড ইন ক্ৰাইম বাই উমেন আইছেন ইজ আ ভেৰি ইন্টাৰেষ্টিং টপিক বহুত কন্টেন্ট আছে লিখিবলে বাট আমি এনেকুৱা নহয় কি ফ্লো মে অকল আমি সোনাম ৰঘুবংশীৰ কথাই লিখি গৈ থাকিলো এটো নহয়. Let us see what we could have written. So going by the trend of APSC to all of us Google dile. Going by the trend of APSC, my बहुत pro crime on women dher কৰাইছিলো যেনেকে multidimensional effects on child marriage কৰাইছিলো এটো তাৰ পিছত কৰাইছিলো ডাউৰি ডেথৰ ওপৰত কৰাইছিলো patriarchal control multi-pronged strategy তাৰপিছত আমি child marriage ওপৰত কৰাইছো domestic violence ওপৰত কৰাইছো but only one bigotry and gender based crime কৰাইছো and তাৰ পৰাই আমাৰ ডাউৰি তাৰ পৰাই আমাৰ crime by women আহি গৈছে. So এতিয়া explanation যদি আমি কৰিব যাও কৈছো I hope যে আপোনালোকে অকল সোনাম ৰঘুবংশীৰ কথা লিখি লিখি যোৱা নাই বা আমি অকল এক্সাম্পল লিখি লিখি যোৱা নাই যেতিয়া আমি ক্ৰাইম বাই উইমেন বুলি কওঁ এই টপিকটো কিন্তু আপুনি ধুনিয়াকে এক্সপ্লেইন কৰিব লাগিব and মই হোৱা হলে কথাটো মই নিলিখিলোই হেতেন because I don't think this is a valid topic but যদি এই টপিকটো আহিলে হেতেন আৰু কোনবাই লিখিব পাৰিলে হেতেন তেতিয়া হলে আমি লিখিব পাৰিলে হেতেন in temporal POV Temporal POV আমি কেনেকে লিখিম ট্রেডিশনাল পিরিয়ড কি আগতে ক্রাইম উইমেনে নকৰে ক্রাইম উইমেন it was like that the women's involvement in crime was rare and mostly limited to domestic setting like infanticide poisoning and property dispute আগতে যদি infanticide কৰিব হয় তেতিয়া ইউৰিয়া বা সল্টৰ ভিতৰত গাই মাজনিয়ে পলিটুক ভৰাই দিয়ে and the child dies so infanticide হক বা property dispute কিবা হক বা poisoning টাইপৰ বস্তু হক তাতে women involved হৈছিলে which was very private Like post 1970s also, with rising education and urban exposure, women participation in public life grew. Crime increased in areas like property dispute, economic offense, and dowry-related incidents, but remained mostly private. 1970s or 90s of private hustle. So, women and crime were like this. Digital and globalized period, 2000s to 2010s. Economic liberalization and internet access opened new avenues. Women became more visible in white-collar crime, cyber crime, and organized network, reflecting changing social and economic role. What we saw in Kerala story. আমি যোনটো Kerala story দেখা পাইছিলো তাৰপিছত আহিলে recent period there's a rise in cyber fraud online scam financial crime drug trafficking involving women greater digital access and changing lifestyle have diversified the type of crime making them more visible and complex future trend women involvement in cyber and economic crime may further increase with digitization better reporting and gender neutral law enforcement will make patterns clear I just hope कि आपनालोके जोनपुर जोडी कुनबाई recent trend माने crime by women लिखिसे आपने float गई पेलाय on the boundary of women hitting kori diya nai I hope you have not done that because it is an extremely tricky essay it is an extremely tricky essay you have to control your emotions you have to control your emotions আপনি যদি তাত যে এলিমেনি পার্টি হই যায় আর তাত যদি আপনি লিখি দিয়ে কি why এলিমেনি why এবোৰ কিন্তু এক্সপেক্ট কৰিছে কি আপনি ফ্লোট গৈ পেলাই এবোৰ লিখিব আৰু এবোৰ যদি লিখি থৈ আহিছে then it's going to be thoraसा difficult to get marks হেকাৰণে it is better to not choose this kind of topic because very risky कोबात जदि अपने इमोशन में फ्लो में घुसी जाए then it is going to be problematic but already we have tested that with our students and flow में जाना है ভাল কথা तो bigotry and gender based crime report already we gave a question and তারপর আমার essay আহিছে whole so you saw 6 out of 8 you saw what we did with 6 out of 8 you saw eto hoy gol khatam kar liya 6 out of 8 essays and today abhi ye bhi kar lenge now we are going for 18 out of 20 GS1 questions chalo we'll go towards the end yes so eto hol amar kiba question paper I hope you all have seen only 20 ta question ahisile tare 10 ta ahisile ki hol 10 ta ahisile amar 10 markers তাইসৰ বাকি 10 টা আহিছে 15 মার্কস সো বেলেগ বেলেগ ধৰণে লিখে কোনবাই 15 মার্ক গিটা আগতে লিখি লয় কোনবাই দুটাই 10 মার্ক লিখি পেলাই তাৰপিছত 15 মার্ক লিখে কোনবাই সিৰিয়ালি কৰি যায় anyways it doesn't matter because আপোনালোকৰ আনসাৰ টু কোৱেশ্চন মানে লিখাই থাকে সো আগপিস গমে নাপায় এক্সামিনাৰে ইমান ভালকে গম নাপাব লগিয়াকে লিখিলে ভাল হয় কিন্তু হ্যান্ড রাইটিং আৰু কন্টেন্টৰ কোৱালিটি দেখি পেলাই এক্সামিনাৰে গম পায় কি this is not the first question but I hope you have written in a way যে এক্সামিনাৰে গম নাপায় now আমি কি কৰিলো Sandpaper ki kore. Question number 1 is write an essay on tradition of manuscript painting in Assam. So A2 ami eta special bostu banaisilo ebar. Etu moi bonwa nasilu, moi current affairs saisilu. This was made by Gyandeep. So he made CA flashpoints and etu apnaloke nijor driver paisile. Mane the ones who were with us nijor driver paisile. So we specifically gave one whole paper preserving Assamese heritage, ancient manuscript presented to Rashtrapati Bhavan. And a context to my traditional manuscript painting of a question I said. Because this is a recent thing. I mean, like you, this is GS paper 1 rahibo, GS paper 2 rahibo, paper essay rahibo. Dekho, GS paper 1 rahibo. So landmark initiative, ami kolu ki hol ki no hol. Okol CA flashpoint and hoy. This was along with our CA module or logot ahisile flashpoint too. Again, our CA module 2 extremely important hoy. Edu logot ami rank ready mains program GS paper 5. তাত আমি হুদি থৈছো write a note on manuscript culture of Assam with reference to Hasipat tradition and same tradition of manuscript printing manuscript culture of Assam और कितना same आएगा copy pasted answer copy एनुका हो गयसे so this straight away came on our GS5 and also আমি CA flashpoint at পঢ়াইছো সব মই কৈছিলো আমাৰ ফাউন্ডেশন লে জুৱাই নাই ফাউন্ডেশনৰ বাচ্চাইটো আৰু পঢ়িছে ফাউন্ডেশন লে জুৱাই নাই ফাউন্ডেশনত গলে কি হ'ব এটা আপোনালোকে নিজে ইমাজিন কৰি লব এক্সপ্লেনেশন টু দি দিছো আমি আপোনাক থুলমুলকে মডেল আনসাৰ হিচাপে এটো একদম হেৰি নহয় ফাস্ট কে বনোৱা আছে তথাপিও traditional manuscript painting a unique blend of literature religion and art flourished in 15th to 17th century with the spread of Vaishnavite movement by Srimanta Shankardev manuscripts were written on hasipat bark of hasi tree and tulapat handmade paper using natural pigment themes were mainly religious depicting scenes from the Bhagavata Purana Ramayana and Mahabharata style was linear colorful and flat expressive figures with decorative borders. Centers like Marjuli, Borpeta, Kamrup became hubs of this art under royal and hottrop patronage. Artists often monks saw manuscripts are surviving in museum and hottrop. Recent effort aimed to revive this heritage, significant symbol of Assamese. লিখিছো থুলমুলকে সব আই হোপ আপোনালোকে ইয়াতকে বেছি লিখিছে Number 2 question, hetu amar directly aha nai. This question, although ahibo lagisile, because junto amar May 2024 ot, May 2024 ot, actually eto joabar mains or agor hol no, so we did not cover it this time. So May 2024 ot, amar chipko movement or 50 years hoisile. I think he context tote ahise 50 years hoisile. So amar pora ami okol tak historic citizen movement ot ami capture korisu. Amar enuka nohoy ki ami apak ei bikhoy ekue pohoa nai. আমি পঢ়াইছো কিন্তু বাকিবোৰ ইমানে মিলি গৈছে কি এটো আমি ক্লেমত আনা নাই আপোনালোকে যে ক্লেমত আনিব বিচাৰে আমি বেয়া নাপাও but this is like half of it that we have taught what are the other dimension of movement that has beside environment so আমি course of chipko movement ৰ কথা কৈছিলো যে target prevent deforestation led to people sensitive forest policies আৰু বাকি তাৰ related আমি citizen movement ৰ কথাও পঢ়াইছিলো so this is not something that we have directly taught okay Explanation kobore jam explanation ot amar ki ahibo explanation ot ahibo je ami chipko movement or nature cause and dimension ki hoy emerged in the early 1970s in the Garhwal Himalayas of Uttar Pradesh now Uttarakhand is a non-violent grassroots protest against deforestation led by Chandi Prasad Bhatt and Sundarlal Bahuguna and local villages especially women the movement involved hugging trees chipko to prevent commercial logging mane gom paise The movement began in 1973 in the Mandal village, spread across the region. Reni, being a landmark protest, successfully pressured the government to ban tree felling in the Himalayan region for 15 years. Beyond environmental concern, Chipko had multiple dimensions: social, empowered marginalized hill communities and women to assert their rights; economic, challenge exploitative commercial forestry demanding local control of resources; political, question top-down development policy and sought participatory decision-making; and cultural, revive traditional ecological wisdom. So Chipko became a symbol of environmental justice and socio-political empowerment. It will likhibole asile, but keto apni khojai porai likhibo aro. So question number 3, eto amar crash course or notes hoy. These are made by Pushpanjali. So Pushpanjali is our expert mentor from history. So she teaches a lot. Teo pohuwa sob bostu ahi jay, but history besi nahe. Otherwise, teo pohuwa almost 100% teo jiman jiji pohaise sobe yad ahi gol hoy. So question asile, write the main feature of British land revenue policy and its impact in peasantry in Assam. Yeah, poise to teo handwritten notes diye. So British land revenue policy, permanent settlement, zamindari, dotwari, who have teo lise already. This is her. So land revenue policy, permanent settlement, teo ki code class at poise ebu teo dekhwai dise. Aro modern history through questions eto ami amar mains cash course disilu. So Ryotwari settlement was introduced to upward permanent settlement or upward ami beleg question already disilu. So aram se pariboi lage parise boli asha korisu also ami tar logot related question already put korisilo because yat eta second part disile analyze its impact on peasantry in Assam so ami yat peasantry uporot je peasantry beleg dhonor andolon hoisile he andolonor upor ami already proshno disoe so British rule brought disruption and suffering among peasantry which created an endemic structure of underdevelopment in the countryside discussed with examples. So disruption suffering among peasantry junto ahisla me explain korisu ya hetu ami explain korbo disilu and like I always say geo paper no hok we need to give some specific examples. So etuke some specific didile 100% thing done. Explanation koribole ki jam eketai British land revenue policy Ryotwari zamindari dikha reduction of zamindari some area Ryotwari and others, imposition of high land taxes often in cash respective of agricultural productivity, grant of wasteland to European planters to tea cultivation displacing locals, impact on peasants was severe, traditional communal rights were eroded leading to alienation of land. Many peasants lost land due to inability to pay taxes, became tenants or laborers. Tribal communities were marginalized as their customary practices were ignored. Overall, the policy led to agrarian distress, indebtedness, and rural inequality, benefiting colonial interests over local welfare. Eto moi thulmulke apnalokok disu. Eto apni explain kori pelai dibo lagisile. Eto prelims oto aise. Prelims ot aha quite a few number of questions ebar mains ot aise. To eto ami notun ken trend eta hiki lobo lagibo je prelims ot aha proshno bor ami boholai pelai mains ot. So question to aisile etu jega nohol kare eneke disu the participation of movement as Assamese women in freedom struggle through a new social and political consciousness among them. Analyze the statement. So discuss the role of women in Assam freedom movement in suitable examples. Etu ami already rank ready mains program ot pudisue GS5 junu first paper asile 5 tarikhe hua to etu upor ami already discussed the role of women. Also this is the most important one of the most important YouTube videos ever made by Chainika. Eto jonto PDF ase eto already apnalokor kiba available ase Telegram or available ase olop upore jabo September enka time kotha hobo joa bosa তেতিয়া এটো তেও বনাইছিলে for APSC CCE prelims কিন্তু ফিৰ মেইনছ মে भी applicable हो गया because তেও যি বস্তু পঢ়াইছিলে তিলেশ্বৰী বৰুৱা আৰু বাকি অন্যান্য তেওঁলোকৰ ওপৰত ডাইৰেক্টলি প্ৰিলিমছতো প্ৰশ্ন আহিছে মেইনছতো প্ৰশ্ন আহিছে সো হল we'll send the YouTube PDF মানে বহুত ডাঙৰ হ'ব হেতু তো হেকানে মই লিখি থাকা নাছিলো এটো আমি ইউটিউবত আপোনাক যোনটো ইউটিউব PDF আছে হেতু আমি টেলিগ্ৰামত আপোনাক পঠিয়াই দিম এন্ড পাইও যাব পুৰণা সালে আপুনি পাইও যাব now this is one question which is very interesting. Question is like give a geographical outline of Antarctica as a continent and analyze its environmental significance in contemporary context. So apunar ebu juntu bostu ahisile apunar tat ahisile ozone layer upor kotha apunar tat ahibo Antarctic treaty upor kotha so ebilakor upor context ahi pelai ei question to ahisile so we taught both Antarctica as a continent obviously sobe pohalu but environmental significance ami pohaisu কি মন্ট্ৰিয়েল প্ৰটোকলত কেনেকে ওজন লেয়াৰ আমাৰ এন্টাৰ্কটিকৰ ওপৰত ফৰ্ম হোৱা কাৰণে গোটেই হৈছৈ লাগি গল তাৰছত এন্টাৰ্কটিক ট্ৰিটি ওপৰত আমি কথা কৈছো হাউ এন্টাৰ্কটিকৰ ওপৰত কি what is the significance of the treaty how it is never going to be used for any kind of war type or হেৰি তাৰ environmental significance কি হয় what is the committee environmental protection what is Antarctic treaty গোটেই বস্তুবোৰ আমি পঢ়াইছো so and this is okay this is not a part of foundation de মই কৈছো মই foundation ওপৰত অলপ দূৰতে থাকিব ট্ৰাই কৰিছো because foundation to depth to আপুনি ইয়াতে বুজি পাব লাগে This is a part of our CA 365. Junto amar mains aru prelims or compilation ulai. Junto amar mains and prelims or compilation ulai. Ei compilation of thaka bostu ego. Je Antarctic treaty upor pahaiso, ozone layer depletion upor pahaiso. Antarctic is a continental geographical outline. All this to you know. So a compilation or pray bostu amar ahise. Imagine the foundation. So আমি ট্রাই করছো কি আমি ফাউন্ডেশন টাচ করব যে বেলেগত কত আমি টাচ করা নাই তোথে আমি ফাউন্ডেশন দিয়ে বলছো because I wanted to show you the quality of modules that we are providing here in Sandpaper for you so আমার compilation তো আপনাকে দেখাই দিলো তো geographical outline of Antarctica and environmental significance हो गया explanation তো আপনি কি দিব explanation তো আপনি দিব যে Antarctica is the fifth largest continent covers around 14 square kilometer million square kilometer 98% of which is covered by ice located almost entirely within the Antarctic circle surrounded by southern ocean transantarctic mountain dividing east and west Antarctica continent contains about 70% of the world freshwater locked in ice sheets and extreme cold strong katabatic winds and long polar nights and days contemporary time immense environmental significance acts as a global climate regulator reflecting solar radiation through its ice cover albedo melting ice sheet due to global warming contribute to sea level rise provide crucial scientific data for understanding past etu apnalokor mains or ase ami ki station ase that also we taught etu iman jaga nohol aru Antarctica treaty system junto already apnalok pohaisu ensuring peaceful and scientific purposes highlighting the need for global cooperation in environmental protection so egita bostu apni pohilole apni bhalke explanation dibo paile hoy now some islands of the world are under risk of submergence due to rise of sea level discuss how impending situation can be addressed so more or less it dekha tenuka lagise je this is a very complicated discuss how an impending situation can be addressed is more like a climate change control question so etu bikoy ami pohaisilo India Pacific nation relation jod ami explicitly explain korisu ki how this junto amar Pacific island nations as like Fiji Samoa Vanuatu Papua New Guinea ebur junto asle climate leadership how PIN are highly vulnerable to climate change rising risk and natural disaster so etu baki ini jodi side this is also a part of our CA 365 amar junto current affairs module ase tar part asile etu this was a part of our mains edition so that ami pura well explain korisu what are the risk of the Pacific island nations second is some island of the world kose tar teulokor ki problem ase তাত কি ধৰণে হেল্প হ'ব পাৰে কি ধৰণে স্ট্ৰেংথেন পলিটিক্স কি ধৰণৰ ইকোনমিক জোন আমি বনাব পাৰো পিছত গুটি আমি এক্সপ্লেইন কৰিছিলো সো ডাইৰেক্টলি ইট has come from our CE Mains edition explanation to ami keneke dim yata ami answer ki likhim addressing the risk of submergence of islands due to sea level rise okay jone small island developing nations ba Pacific island nations junbur hoy PIN Maldives Tuvalu Kiribati parts of Pacific and Indian Ocean face severe risk of submergence due to rising sea level due to global warming This threatens their ecosystem, livelihood, freshwater sources, and even statehood. Addresses this requires multidimensional strategy, global climate action, coastal protection measures, sustainable adaptation, international cooperation, legal migration, and a combination of mitigation, adaptation, global solidarity is essential to addressing this human crisis. It is about bomb generic question eta hoy gol very generic it is like sobe likhise because this is the basic sobe pohisu ami tarabi ami try korsu ki foundation nojua ki ami paru likhi aru parisu discuss the role of rice cultivation in economy and culture of India. So it amar CA 365 mains or part 2. তো আমি লাবণ্য ৰাইচৰ কথা কৈছো how national recognition পালে because ইয়াত economy and culture বুলি কৈছে okay so I hope that you have addressed both the dimension আপনি অকল ইকোনমি বুলি কৈ পেলাই কালচাৰটো নিলিখিলে কিন্তু নহব you will have to address both the dimension so আমি লাবণ্য ৰাইচৰ কথা লিখিছো কি house what is the significance farmer income and productivity market diversification rural urban migration আমি লিখিছো কি how the culture of rice eating has a problem হেতু কথা আমি এক্সপ্লেইন কৰিছো in CA 365 এটো আমি হেৰি culture to impose culture দেখাবলৈ কাৰণে আপোনাক কৈছো this is a page of our কিবা this is a page of our হেৰি এক সেকেন্ড মই চেঞ্জ কৰি লও yellow পৰা নহলে দেখা নাপাব this is the page of our study material এটা আমাৰ study material page হয় তাতে এটো কিয় মই দেখুৱালো সো দ্যাট আপোনালোকে দেখা পায় কি মিছিংত কেনেকে staple food rice হয় ট্ৰেডিশনাল rice beer খায় তাৰপিছত তেওঁলোকে আৰু আছে বড়ো আছিল এটো কেনেকে তেওঁলোকে rice beer খায় how rice is not just the food it's a part of the culture hetu ami tribal logot associate koriu apnalokor kiba study material dia ase also CA flashpoint aru dher ase rice at dher bostu dia ase GI dunia sob dia ase to that upendra rice black rice all these things we have written origins of upendra rice all these things we have given because rice or generic bostu bud apna jane ki kiman what is the type of alluvial what is the type of soil that is required what is the type of rain that is required kiman amount of millimeter of rain required kiman time like kharif rabi kar kenuka ki type of crops is in terms of rice so all this to basic hoy so basic or uporat so that you will be able to give very good examples value added answers for rice cultivation in economy and culture we taught you all this through our CA 365 it bar study material part hai thapi dekhaisu eto ei black rice or kiba এটো তাৰে পাৰ্টটো অলপ এক্সপ্লেইন কৰি আমি দিছো এটো ব্ল্যাক ৰাইচৰে PM praises black rice of north east black rice আমি কারেন্ট অ্যাফেয়ার্স ওটো দিছিলো সো ছোটা মোটাকে লিখি দিছো আপোনালোকক প্রাইসটা পারিবই বাৰু staple food হয় over 60% plays a crucial role largest area under rice cultivation among the top producers and exporters especially of basmati economically rice cultivation provide employment to millions এটা বহুত বম এবু পারিছেই থাকে I hope যে পারিছে এনে কবলেও মই হেৰি কৰা নাই central to religious festivals সবতে ইউজ হয় ওনাম বিহু পঙ্গল সবতে ইউজ হয় rice cultivation is not merely agricultural activity but a pillar of India's economic sustenance and cultural heritage এটা মই পারিছে next question আহিছে question number 8 are slums a social issue so discuss the challenges of slum dwellers in India so generally আমি যেটা slums পঢ়ো বা urbanization পঢ়ো তো আমি geography angle পা পঢ়ো human geography টা so তাত এটো add কৰিছে যে are slums a social issue so this was taught in Indian society class 4 GS1 which was taught by Brishti so the urbanization and their problems and remedies পঢ়াইছিলে যত demographic winter reasons urbanization rising cost of living all this she taught where she taught about slums she taught about the concept of internal displacement she taught about dharavi urban poverty all she taught so directly that for a question ahise sir yahi nahi Gyandeep as usual he taught this in internal security he taught slums in internal security jeti ami organized crime পঢ়ি আছিলো যে slum area কি problem হয় water scarcity হয় clear water নাপায় electricity নাপায় communication a problem health and diseases education all these problems exist and it leads to a rise of crime তো এই অ্যাঙ্গেলত আমি কিবাটো পঢ়াইছো slum টো পঢ়ালো also urban poor in Assam যোনটো আমাৰ CA 365 mains হয় যোনটো urban poverty কথা বৃষ্টিয়ে নিজৰ ক্লাছত কৈছিলে হেতু আমি অলৰেডি আমাৰ CA mains editionত পঢ়াইছো in details urban poor in Assam or problem কি আছে এটো কনটেক্সট টো আমি দিছো কৈছো housing and infrastructure deficit আছে employment and income insecurity আছে and all of these exist for whom for the slum dwellers and CA mains edition to কোনে পাইছিলে এটো পাইছে আমাৰ CA modular students সকলে CA modular students সকলে এটা আপুনি আনসার তো কেনেকে লিখিব slums as a social issue and challenges to slum dwellers একেখিনি যোনখিনি পঢ়াইছে তাকে the slums are a major social issue rapid urbanization rural urban migration lack of affordable housing have led to growth of slums in cities like Mumbai Delhi Calcutta Chennai slums reflect urban poverty social exclusion inadequate urban planning so example নহয় challenge ji ase likhi dile poor housing sanitation health issue lack of basic services insecure tenure economic vulnerability social marginalization addressing slum requires inclusive urban planning affordable housing targeted welfare likhile done question number 9 discuss the role of BR Ambedkar in providing a democratic framework for the empowerment of marginal social group in India so Dr. BR Ambedkar ideology and legacy boli ami eta separate topic e mains crash course পঢ়াইছে পুষ্পাঞ্জলি This is a part of the class notes which have been given for modern history. So that specially likhi diya goise ki how he is a champion of Dalits, So secular and political solution keneke ulale, separate electorate, distinct identity of Dalits. So tar beyond in this topic, we taught very exhaustively how B.R. Ambedkar was there in providing a democratic framework for the empowerment of marginal groups. So, hey, bostutoke ami likhim, how is the chairman of drafting committee of Indian Constitution, played a pivotal role, shaping democratic framework, ensured secure equality, justice, dignity for marginalized group, especially SCs and STs, embedded fundamental rights and DPSPs for to guarantee non-discrimination. This hell-bent on eliminating, banning untouchability. Tarpisod reservation in legislature, education, employment, advocacy led to abolition of untouchability. Emphasize political democracy with social economic democracy, recognizing political right alone by insufficient, champion education, legal empowerment. So all these things he did. And also not that he did a democratic framework only was done after independence. B.R. Ambedkar, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar or Babarao Ambedkar was trying to provide a democratic framework for the empowerment of marginal social groups even before India was independent. It was a separate electoral distinct identity of Dalit or Kotha Hekane to hai. वो महात्मा गांधी से लड़ गए so that they have a democratic framework for the empowerment of marginal social group. So all post to likhile na hobo, apni pre to likhbo lagibo, then only your answer is going to be complete. It is human development to that's pretty obvious. So what is human development and what are the indicators of human development? To what extent do you think that these indicators can contribute to an inclusive measure of human development? So yeah, actually apna kudi se ki do you think the multidimensional poverty index থাকিব লাগে, etu index থাকিব লাগে, happy index থাকিব লাগে, he bostu to apni kobat olopman do you think indicators can contribute to an inclusive measure to apni kobat mention koribole expected ase? Okay, so any foundation mein to economics mein padhaya hi hai, ami tale joai nai, like I said, this is tothapiu a part of our kiba amar juntu kiba ase, juntu amar study material ase. Amar study material to iman besara publicity poa nai, iman bhal hoar pisat to hekane etia ami taku olop dekhaisu aru. So do amar juntu study material ase, hetu ami human development and sustainable development of gote 4 pillars, approaches to human development, all these things we taught. To almost everybody has taught. In fact, we gave question also in our rank ready mains program mini test series test 8. Discuss the impact of socio-economic reforms such as rural employment scheme, education and healthcare initiative on reducing inequality and improving human development indicators in India. So yeah, key question would be say, do you think these indicators can contribute to inclusive measure of human development? So আমি এই indicators geta improvement or upor juntu impact pelaise social economic reform tar upor directly question ase. So direct questions ahile explanation ki dile ebure dile aru refers to process of expanding people's capabilities and choices, enabling them to live long, healthy and knowledgeable and dignified life. Unlike purely economic growth, it focuses on people centric progress. That's the catch. UNDP juntu 3 core indicators are health, education and standard of living. It would be additional hoy juntu niti aayog amar multidimensional poverty index and others use kore. These indicators offer a broad comparative framework to assess progress beyond GDP. However, they may not fully capture inequality, gender disparity, environmental sustainability or quality of life. Hetu yatma koesu. Complementary measures like inequality adjusted HDI, gender development index, MDPI, এইবিলাক বস্তু are more inclusive as compared to human development index. সেই বস্তুটো আপনি কোবাত না কোবাত নিজৰ আনসাৰত মেনশন কৰিব লাগিব। এটাতো I think again june Assam polity koise they must have read it, je analyze the significance of implication of State Reorganization Act of 1956. eto amar chainika hoy, this is a foundation class. মই যেনে কৈছিলো কেটেমান foundation class আমি ভৰাইছো, this is a foundation class where she has taught about the আমাৰ অসমৰ formation, northeast or formation, Nagaland, Tripura, Kutken keneke form hoise right from the time of independence, ketia amar অসমত what happened 1963 mein, what happened 56 ke baad, what happened. So all these things implication were properly taught by her in class. Also this is a last year question. So amar Sandpaper Mains GS1 or ketaman duta man proshno asile, day to di thwa ase 10 June 2024. Tateo ami proshno kora ase division of Assam into existing state, diplomatic requirement in post independent India. Etu aram se state reorganization jono northeast reorganization act hoy hetu upor to proshno korisu, 1963 ki hoise hetu upor to proshno korisu, undivided Assam or upor to koa hoise, keneke divided into other further parts. Onukilan 1.0 to ami ei proshno to kori thoisu, etu mo color kora নহল. Write about the formation of state from Assam in northeast since 1960. এটু বস্তু আমি কালার করা আছে। I think আপনি দেখা পাইছে, মই কাটি দিয়া জানহে হল বাৰু এটু, but I hope আপোনালোকে দেখা পাইছে। Question number 6. Okay, তো মই হাইলাইট কৰা নহল এটো Write about the formation of Assam in Northeast since 1960. Etu moi prashna korchim. This is from Onukhilan 1.0. আর এটু হয় Sandpaper Mains Answer Writing Test Series যোনটো আমি লাস্ট ইয়ার জুনত পাতিছিলো সো এই দুটাই বস্তু আমাৰ অলৰেডি আহিছে তাৰ ওপৰত আমি ফাউন্ডেশনতো কৰাইছো সো ডান তো আমি লিখিম কি significance and implication of State Reorganization Act করাম with reference to kiba was a landmark in post-independent India, organized state-wide boundary on linguistic line, aiming to strengthen administrative efficiency and national integration. However, its implication in Northeast India were distinct and complex, as the state's reorganization was guided more by administrative convenience and security concerns rather than linguistic homogeneity. Act merged most of the Northeast territories, then part of the Assam province, into a single administrative unit. Part C states and tribal areas such as Nefa, Naga Hills, and others were kept under central control under the 6th schedule. Thus, maintain Assam's territorial integrity initially while providing autonomy to tribal areas through district council, laid the groundwork for future statehood demands by acknowledging ethnic and cultural distinctiveness. Implication: rising ethno-linguistic aspiration led through movement of separate state, resulting in eventual creation of Nagaland, Meghalaya, Mizoram, Arunachal. These are good book apni political consciousness and identity assertion can be grow whole. Ensure administrative control, so seats of center state tension, regional autonomy, etc. In sum, 1956 Act was significant for integrating the region administratively, but it limited accommodation of ethnic aspirations shaped the subsequent political reorganization and identity politics in Northeast. So, it will explain koidu. Highlight the recommendation of Kothari Education Commission that also have been addressed by NEP. So, ami Kothari Education Commission ko hua nai. So, we will not claim this question. Although NEP junto ami etu part hoy, etu ami current affairs, mains current affairs etu asile, and this is a part of PIB value added material junto ami apnalokor karone current affairs module provide korisilo. So, NEP to ami pohaisu, but Kothari Education Commission ami pohua nai, so we will not claim this question. So, apni ki likhibo lagisile ki recommendation in correspondence to NEP যেটো আমাৰ Kothari Commission আহিলে, because Kothari Commission was the most comprehensive post-independent education commission in India. Report Education and National Development in 1966 proposed the common national network, emphasizing education as an instrument of social transformation. So, key recommendation ki ahile: common school system, promoted equitable access to quality education. NEP 2020 similarly focused on universal access, inclusivity, reducing disparity. Structure of schooling, vocational education. Many of Kothari Commission visionary recommendations reaffirming their enduring relevance. Higher education reforms, language policy, and education and national development almost sobe junto NEP 2020 part hoy. They have been recognized many of the Kothari Commission's visionary recommendation. So Kothari Commission ami pohua nasilo, to NEP kintu pohaisilo, to kuch to likh ke aa sakte the. Okay. Now this. So question number 13 is critically assess the socio-political circumstances leading to the demographic changes in Assam during post-independence period. So etu bahut details or again pohaise kune gyan dite. So he asked issues with Assam, 78-80, economically very unsure, illegal Bangladeshi, everything illegal immigrants, all these things was taught in, again, their internal security. Internal security de gute matter to bhalke details or address koise. Plus, amar jonto test 12 asile in mains mini mains test series GS5 that ami question e disilo je Assam movement significantly influenced the Assam state's political and social dynamics. Critically evaluate its causes, course, long-term consequences on citizenship and migration issue. So causes boli kole hetu proshno ahise. Plus ami already horisilo. Examine the impact of migration and demographic shift on Assam socio-political stability, identity, politics, and resource distribution. Etu ami horisilo. Rank ready mains or GS5 or another test on. So etu both we talked about migration, we talked about post independence junto amar part ase mane like post independence period or ki hoisile ami tak internal security address korisu, what socio political circumstances led to it. So it was overall a thing that directly came from what we taught. আপনি more or less লিখিছেই সাগে মুজি লাগিছে. This is not a very tough question. So আপনি socio political circumstances leading to demographic change in Assam লিখিলে, আপনি লিখিলে পার্টিশনৰ কথা, যে পার্টিশনৰ পিছত কেনেকে ইনফ্লাক্স হল of Bengali Hindus from East Pakistan. তাৰপিছত আমি কম post 1975 migration, the biggest wave of migration. Bangladesh Liberation War triggered another wave of refugees, including both Hindus and Muslims, causing a significant demographic shift. Economic and administrative factors: Assam fertile land and availability of resources attract migrants, especially for agricultural activities. That's a political factor. Successive governments often politicize Political factors, successive government often politicize migration, viewing migrant as vote bank, which limited effective policy response. Ethno-cultural concerns and mobilization, demographic change, heightened fears of loss of cultural identity, land alienation, political marginalization among Assamese communities, leading to movement like Assam agitation, culminating in the Assam Accord. So, গোটেই বস্তুবোৰ লিখিব লাগিব, যিহেতু it's a 15 marker, and I hope you wrote. Again, same. This is a very basic question. A rise to nisna question eta aise. They discuss the social and economic and environmental significance of forest resource in Northeast India, focusing on their sustainability. It is our foundation of flora and fauna, jo amar class kora aise chain. And also this resource is available in Telegram. So ami bhabilo thoda Telegram resource ko bhi aapko dikha de. So this was actually taught by Gyandip again. So Gyandip পঢ়োৱা এটো so like you know Gyandip এটো পঢ়াইছিলে last year. এটো resource already Telegram present আছে, আপনি এতিয়া গৈ চালেও পাব. So already we talked about forest. Actually, forest is something that sobe sake pohise more or less. Plus, amar junto forest cover of Assam ase, hetu ami nizor junto amar etu amar kiba de, etu amar heri, etu amar kiba, etu amar kibil ko etu amar heri study material. Study material all over dekhaiso ami apnalokok thoda sa exposure. So etu amar study material part to obviously pohaise jehetu foundation of pohaise study material thakibo. So forest is something junto sobe korise I think. So etu bahut besi details or ami discuss nokoru, yar upor ami bamboo upor forester sal forest ami tapsot agar wood ebilakor upor ami current affairs pohaisoi. So etu take ami likhisu aru economic significance, livelihood of tribal and rural community, timber and bamboo based industry, forest sustain shifting cultivation, economic tourism, so on and so forth. Environment significance ketao likhi diso, scientific forestry, afforestation, regulatory extraction, community based forest management, etc. Now this it was a direct question ahisila amar tat. Examine how globalization has changed the conventional ideas and principles of industrial location and development. Hetuke paraphrase kori ami hudisilu, what are the non-geographical factors? What are the non-geographical factors that determine the location of industry in India? So ইয়াত খালি ইন্ডিয়া বুলি কোৱা নাই, আমি ইন্ডিয়া বুলি কৈছো, but context to same আছিলে কি non-geographical factors কি আছে, right? Globalization has changed the conventional idea. Our conventional idea ki geographically that sort of লাগিব, this লাগিব, ekko depth লাগিব, hetuke ami hudisu what has changed and what are the factors related to it. Hetuke baru ami industrialization of Assam boli nijor hetu pohaisilu aru hetu ta beleg factor. Kinu ami already question apna hudisu in mini test series test 2 GS1 side hobo pare. Explanation ami ki dilu, what can we write about it? We can write what are the impact of globalization on conventional ideas and principles of industrial location. So theory kedaman dilu, Weber or dilu, Chrysler dilu, Losher dilu. Ebur abaru ami agote herit pohisilu, amar geography optional pohisilu, Losh theory, tarpisot Weber's least cost theory, all this. To emphasize factors like raw material availability, transport cost, market proximity, labor supply. Industrial development was largely region specific. Industry tended to cluster near resources or markets. It a change ki hoise, reduced role of distance and resources, new determinants like skill, labor, infrastructure, investment, climate tax, incentive, digital connectivity, policy regime. Industrial decentralization and clustering, while some industries decentralized to low-cost region like textile, other cluster around global hubs, rise of SEZs, environmental social consideration, etc. Again, same tourism to again it is like AI. Sobe pohaise tourism upor. Ami to beleg angle hudisu, eco tourism hudisu, cultural tourism hudisu, this tourism, that tourism, a lot of tourism we ask, and we expected the tourism upor essay. So ami essay hudisu on tourism. But then question aa gaya, very good. Discuss the importance of tourism as an evolving industry and explain its potential and challenges in Northeast India. So A2 amar rank ready mains program or GS3 part 1 or question number 16. Tourism in Assam, including eco-tourism and cultural tourism, remain underdeveloped. Evaluate the challenges, direct question, and sustainable strategies to unlock tourism potential. So, direct question, potential challenges, potential and challenges. So, abhi kaise nahi bole ki 18 out of 20 has come out of Sandpaper. Apnalokor agar proof ase, silo. Hetuke ami CA Mains 365 to ami dher promotion of Northeast as a tourism destination, economic development, cultural preservation, international. This is for Mains 365. They to Mains or compilation to the hisile. Sustainable tourism, all these things we already taught. So, anahi chahiye. Aru tourism upon critically examine the performance of tourism sector. Tourism Development Corporation or initiative or kami hudisu. Sustainable tourism, local entrepreneurship and international visibility for. So explanation to baru apni more or less this sake as evolving potential and challenges ki ase. So significant challenges ase je poor connectivity, insufficient accommodation, security perception, limited marketing investment, need for environmental safeguard. তাৰপিছত পটেনশিয়েল তো ঢেৰে আছে, সেইটো বস্তুকো আপুনি এক্সপ্লেইন কৰি দিছে বুলি মই ভাবিছো, থুলমূলকে আপোনালোকক দেখাইছো, কিন্তু আই হোপ যে ইউ হেভ touch both potential and challenges are equally, okay, because equally ahise prashnoto. Question number 17, discuss the feasibility and sustainability of river restoration in less developed countries of the world. Etu amar eta epic question hai. One of the students came and said direct ahi goise the rejuvenation obviously ya restoration obviously. So this is what, this is again rank ready mains program or mini test series test 2. Ami question udisilu, what do you understand by river rejuvenation? Identify the characteristic feature that are associated with river rejuvenation. So river rejuvenation restoration opor ami question podisu, yat already etu hol rank ready ebaror অনুশীলন 1.0 যোৱাবাৰতো আমি সুধিছো suggest measures of cleaning and maintaining the Brahmaputra. So etu hol অলপ Assam specific, etu ami Assam specific সুধিছো, etu ami generically সুধিছিলো and দুইটাৰ content হল same. এতিয়া এক্সপ্লেনেশন তো আপুনি কি বুলি দিব, এক্সপ্লেনেশন তো দিব আৰু আপোনালোকে যে লেস ডেভেলপ কান্ট্রিজ মানে আমাৰ ইন্ডিয়াৰ নিচিনা কান্ট্রি, that যোনটো river restoration is an effort to revive the natural flow, ecology and function of degraded river system, involves measures like removing obstacles, reforestation of catchments, improving water quality, reviving aquatic ecosystem, etc. Feasibility, LDC, financial and technological constraints making large-scale restoration difficult, competing demand for water, irrigation industry, limiting ecological flow, weak institutional framework and limited community awareness often hinder effective planning. However, low-cost community-driven initiatives and traditional ecological knowledge can make restoration feasible difficult. Sustainability upar leke so integrated river basin management, in fact integrated river basin management upar belek question hudise, linking land use, water policy and ecosystem, community participation, restoration can lead to economic benefits. Example, Mekong basic initiative amar Ganga juntu Ganga upor yateo hudi thuisu I think. हाँ, नेशनल विजन फॉर क्लीन गंगा, एटू रिवर रिस्टोरेशन अपनी एग्जांपल দিব পাৰে। তো আমাৰ एक ही क्वेश्चन में we have two things that related to river restoration, তো আমি গঙ্গা ওপৰতো সুধি থৈছো, that can also be an example, okay, লিখিব পাৰিব আপুনি। Again, the cultural heritage and tradition of tribal communities in Northeast India are facing a serious crisis today. Suggest measures for their preservation and promotion. So context to ki hoy je tribal communities are facing a serious identity crisis, heritage and tradition bilakor that ite preservation promotion ami kenake kore. This is again mini test series test 2 of GS1. Question, analyze the challenges of integrating tribal community in mainstream development without cultural erosion. Question to ki hudisu, ami tribal community mainstream development kenake integrate korim without challenging their culture. Ar yat etuke beleg angle ot yat ki hudise je culture bilake north east or India'r tribal communities bilake cultural erosion face korise, hetu kenake preserve koribo or promote koribo. Same thing. Direct question from our rank ready mains program. Etu mini test series or test 2 asile. Plus etu apnalokok ami PIB material disilu, PIB material disilu sobake disilu, CA module ok disilu, rank ready test series ok disilu, crash course ok disilu, foundation to paise. So these are ekdam details mein given ki how we have tried to integrate the tribal community inside and how we are trying to preserve their cultural identity about their heritage as well. So etu pura bhalke details dia ase, that also we gave. So explanation ki diba apuni, key challenges ami ki face kori asu, je decline of indigenous language, loss of traditional livelihood, influence of external culture leading to cultural homogenization, weak institutional support, declining intergenerational transmission. An explanation of dilu, documentation and community participation, education, cultural tourism, institutional support, legal and policy measures, and community-centric, respectful, sustainable approach ensure that tribal culture heritage thrives along with modern development. Again, question number 19. Etu sake most of the heri jodi apnar coaching thik ase apnar kohaboi trips kohaboi lagibo. So trips or upor amar proshno, this is a part of our Indian economy. Ami kiba na actually our own economics teacher is giving main, so ami kyau disturb kora na ki photo de ami janu ki tar notes pa ami uthai pele ekane photo disu je Indian economic kyau trips pohaise. This is council for trade related aspect of intellectual property right, aru etu ma koi du intellectual property right ta ko globally issue to ahise korpa. If you remember, this has come from actually the Kolhapuri chappal controversy. এটোৰ ওপৰত আমি একটা ইউটিউব ভিডিও বনাইছিলো, পুষ্পাঞ্জলি বনাইছিলে, কিন্তু এটো কেতিয়াও লাইভ নিদিলোগে, মানে এটো আমি এতিয়াও মানে ইটস देयर ইন আ ৰেকৰ্ড পাইলে কেতিয়াবা দি দিম। But the whole issue started with the Kolhapuri chappal and international luxury brand copying it. So hetu ami in other words disilu in light of recent controversy over Kolhapuri chappal and international luxury brand, critically examine the challenges India faced in protecting its intangible cultural heritage. Etu clear horise, what are the minimum standards of TRIPS, challenges towards protection of indigenous and traditional knowledge. Have you seen that? তো এই আহিছে এইটো কোলহাপুৰী চেপ্পল কন্ট্ৰভাৰ্চিটো বা আমি কোলহাপুৰী চেপ্পলটো ডাইৰেক্টলি সুধি দিছো তেওঁলোকে অলপ ব্যাখ্যা কৰি সুধিছে বাট ডাইৰেক্ট কোৱেশ্চন explanation trips or put hodile minimum standard dile je copyright and related rights trademark geographical indicator industrial design patent trade secret related in fact eto amar current affairs to ase eta pohai dekle realize hoise enforcement er kotha dile challenges ki ase mismatch between traditional knowledge and western IPR biopiracy lack of documentation limited capacity of indigenous community likhile rakhina okay last question माइक्रो फाइनेंस मैं लास्ट ईयर हुई आसो माइक्रो फाइनेंस क्योंकि हमें पता था माइक्रो फाइनेंस तो आएगा द काइंड ऑफ पब्लिसिटी माइक्रो फाइनेंस इज गॉट माइक्रो फाइनेंस तो आएगा आहिले critically discuss the role of microfinance and economically empowering rural women in Assam 50 years of microfinance this is from current affairs 12 days of development initiative ইয়াত আমি সুধিছো যেটো আমাৰ যোনটো কোড গল আমাৰ where is this yeah আমি আমাৰ chief minister sare microfinance অৰ্থাৎ কি কৰিছে that also we taught net fee microfinance কাৰণে কি দিছে that also we taught so আমি বেলেগ বেলেগ we have taught about the history of microfinance we have taught about Assamত কি হৈছে in microfinance we taught about the development initiative তাৰপিছত জ্ঞানদীপে being জ্ঞানদীপ governance ত পঢ়াইছিলে হি microfinance ही गवर्नेंस ऑफ पॉइंट्स माइक्रोफाइनेंस उलाई कुसरी उलाई से किनोका रोका गवर्नेंस में भी माइक्रोफाइनेंस पढ़ाया गया है एंड दिस इज अ क्वेश्चन फ्रॉम अनुशीलन 1.0 where we asked can the vicious cycle direct question can the vicious cycle of gender inequality poverty and malnutrition be broken through the microfinancing of self help group explain with examples direct question so ami ki palo in GS1 we do not claim two questions ami chipko movement to porhwa nasilu although আমি পঢ়াব লাগিছিলে because তাৰ 50 years হৈছিলে but then we were little new May 24 মে so আমাক অলপমান to have a hang of things time লাগি গল and আমি কি মিস কৰিছো কোঠাৰী কমিশন although তাৰ half NEP আমি পঢ়াইছো so NEP আমি পাইছো তথাপি আমি ক্লেম নকৰো 18 and a half তো it doesn't look good so আমি 18 and a half ক্লেম নকৰো so এইখিনি বস্তু মই আকৌ এবাৰ দেখাই দিও আপোনাক so আমাৰ মেনুস্ক্ৰিপ্টৰ ওপৰত আহিছে ৰেংকৰী মেইনছ প্ৰগ্ৰামত কোৱেশ্চন আমি সুধিছো তাৰপিছত আমাৰ CA ফ্ল্যাশ পইণ্টত আহিছে তাৰপিছত আমাৰ চিপকো মুভমেন্ট আমাৰ আহা নাই কিন্তু মই আপোনাক এক্সপ্লেইন কৰি দিলো ল্যান্ড ৰেভিনিউ পলিসি এটো সবে পঢ়াইছে আমিও পঢ়াইছো আমাৰ ইয়া পুষ্পাঞ্জলিয়ে পঢ়াইছে কোৱেশ্চনও আমি দিছো টেৰিটৰি পাৰ্মানেন্ট সেটেলমেন্ট তাৰ ওপৰতো কোৱেশ্চন আমি দিছো যে সাফাৰিং অফ পেজেন্ট্ৰি উইথ এক্সাম্পল দিব দিছো which is আমাৰ মিনি টেষ্ট সিৰিজ এবাৰৰে হয় টেষ্ট 8 ৰ প্ৰশ্ন GS1 ৰ আহিছে এটো আপোনালোকৰ এক্সপ্লেনেশন তাৰপিছত এছএমইজ উইমেন ইন ফ্ৰীডম ষ্ট্ৰাগলৰ ওপৰত আহিছে question এইটো যোৱাবাৰ প্ৰিলিমছটো আহিছে এবাৰো আহিছে এটো আমাৰ ৰেংকৰী মেইনছ প্ৰগ্ৰাম GS5 ৰ question এটো আমাৰ the most famous YouTube video done by Chainika তাৰ PDF টো অলৰেডি আপোনালোকৰ কিবাতে अवेलेबल আছে টেলিগ্ৰামতে अवेलेबल আছে লৈ লব পাৰিব geographical outline of Antarctica as a continent আমাৰ কারেন্ট অ্যাফেয়ার্সতে আমি ইনক্লুড কৰিলো ফাউন্ডেশনত তো কৰিছে ও छोड़ी दो আমি কারেন্ট অ্যাফেয়ার্সতে ইনক্লুড কৰিছো by the Antarctic treaty about the stations over there about ozone depletion over Antarctic covered explanation দিলো some island of the world are highly submerged I mean Pacific island nations or good problem বোৰ আমি ডিসকাস কৰিছো and impending situation can be addressed আমি এক্সপ্লেইন কৰিছো role of rice cultivation again very basic এটো সবে জানিছে আমি দেখানো আপোনালোকক বেলেগ বেলেগ টাইপৰ রাইস কৈছো আমি বেসিক বুটো কৈছোয়ে বেলেগ বেলেগ টাইপৰ রাইস আমাৰ কালচাৰত কি ধৰণৰ রাইস আছে all these things we explain তাৰপিছত আমাৰ স্লামছ অৰ সোশ্যাল ইস্যু বৃষ্টি পঢ়াইছে স্লামছৰ ওপৰত ধাৰাবি তাৰাবি she taught everything then জ্ঞানদীপে পঢ়াইছে about organized crime in slum area topic আপুনি স্ক্ৰিনশ্বট টো আনসাৰ লিখিব পাৰিব so directly আহিছে direct question আমি urban poor ৰ ওপৰত নিজৰ মেইনছ এডিশনত পঢ়াইছো তাত আমি স্পেশালি স্লামছৰ ওপৰত লিখিছো এক্সপ্লেনেশন আপোনাক দিলো direct question B.R. Ambedkar political framework direct question আমাৰ class notes from modern history explanation human development এটো বাৰু সবে পঢ়াইছে indicators of measure human development আমি পঢ়াইছো as usual question আমি সুধিছো ইয়াত human development indicators ৰ ওপৰত সুধিছে আমিও সুধিছো directly on human development indicators in India তাৰ ওপৰত effect আমি সুধিছো this is mains test series test 8 direct question analyze the significance and implication of state reorganization act foundation at আমি পঢ়াইছো question সুধিছো last year আমাৰ নর্থ ইষ্টৰ এডমিনিস্ট্রেটিভ এন্ড ডিপ্লোম্যাটিক রিকোয়ারমেন্ট পোস্ট ইন্ডিপেন্ডেন্ট ইন্ডিয়া কোয়েশ্চন 10 জুন অনুশীলন 1.0 আমি প্ৰশ্ন সুধিছো ইয়াত অলৰেডি এটো লিখা নাই বাট এটো formation of state in northeast since 1960 so we asked explanation done direct question তাৰপিছত highlight the কোঠাৰ education এটো আমাৰ আহা নাই এটো NEP আমাৰ PIB পা উঠাইছো বাট এটো আমি দেখো এটো আমাৰ আমি ক্লেম নকৰো এটো আমাৰ পা আহা নাই এটো আমি পঢ়াটো মিস কৰিছো তাৰপিছত socio-political circumstances leading to demographic change internal security পঢ়াইছে এইটো আমাৰ ৰেংক ৰেডি মেইনছ টেষ্ট সিৰিজত আমি দুবাৰকে সুধিছো আমি ইয়াত সুধিছো আসাম মুভমেন্টৰ কথা ষ্টেট পলিটিকেল সোশ্যাল ডাইনামিক ক্ৰিটিকেলি ইভ্যালুয়েট কজ কোর্স লং টার্ম কনসিকুয়েন্স তাৰ এইটো আমি স্পেসিফিক কে সুধিছো এইটো সুধিছো ইম্প্যাক্ট অফ মাইগ্রেশন এন্ড ডেমোগ্রাফিক শিফট অন আসামস পলিটিক্যাল স্টেবিলিটি এন্ড আইডেন্টিটি পলিটিক্স এন্ড রিসোর্স ডিস্ট্রিবিউশন ডাইরেক্ট কোয়েশ্চন এক্সপ্লেনেশন দিলো তাৰপিছত সুধিছো ইকোনমিক এন্ড এনভায়রনমেন্টাল সিগনিফিকেন্স অফ ফরেস্ট রিসোর্স এটো বাৰু সবেই লিখিছেই চাগে তো এইটো টেলিগ্রাম রিসোর্স আমি দিলো তাৰপিছত আপুনি ফৰেষ্ট কভাৰটো আমি দিছো আমাৰ মেইন টেষ্ট সিৰিজ আপুনি আগাৰবুডৰ ওপৰত পাব বেম্বু ওপৰত পাব সবৰ ওপৰত পাব নট টেষ্ট সিৰিজ আমাৰ কাৰেন্ট এফেয়াৰ্ছত পাব এইবোৰ আমি পঢ়াইছো সো দিস ইজ অলসো প্ৰিটি বেসিক এ ৰাইস এটো এইবোৰ বহুত বেসিক কোৱেশ্চন হৈছে তাৰপিছত হাউ গ্লোবালাইজেশন has changed the conventional idea of industrial location direct question test 2 what are the non geographical factors that determine the location of industries in India direct question so এইটো আমাৰ আসামৰ ওপৰত এটা পঢ়াইছে বাৰু so all these things we gave so এইটো explanation আপোনাক দিলো discuss the importance of tourism তো আমি 360 degree tourism সুধিছো like AI and all so 360 degree tourism সুধিছো আমি challenges সুধিছো sustainable strategy direct question potential challenges potential and challenges এইটো like same question potential and challenges এফালে আমি potential and challenges of north east India explain কৰিছো তোমাৰ CA 365 ৰ compilation হয় আমি tourism development corporation tourism sector ওপৰত প্ৰশ্ন সুধিছো তাৰপিছত river restoration ওপৰত direct question river rejuvenation characteristic features of typically associated with river rejuvenation এটাই পেপাৰত দুবাৰ সুধিছো mission for clean ganga সুধিছো cleaning and maintaining of brahmaputra সুধিছো so এইটো explanation আপুনি পাই গল direct question cultural heritage and tradition of tribal communities direct question আমাৰ analyze the challenge of integrating into mainstream development without cultural erosion direct question explanation আপোনাক দিলো reference for mains দি দিছিলো আমি I hope যে আপোনালোকে পঢ়িছিলে দেই তাৰপিছত trips to সবে পঢ়াইছে again trips ওপৰত দিছো what are the challenges toward protection of indigenous and traditional knowledge এইটোৰ যোনটো core question হয় what are the challenges India faces in protecting its intangible cultural heritage in globalized economy because problem to আইছিলে কোলহাপুৰী চাপ্পলৰ ওপৰত আমি সেই প্ৰশ্নটো আপোনাক দিছো in GS1 part 2 তাৰপিছত finally microfinance and empowering rural women last year pa hubi aso microfinance of 50 years Nepti microfinance 12 days of development initiative microfinance in governance pahaise gyan dipe aru ami অনুশীলন 1.0 straight question direct question the vicious cycle of gender inequality poverty and malnutrition be broken through microfinancing of women's self-help group explain the examples so call is yours what we have performed we have shown you with explanations and abhi aapko dekhna hai ki you want to study somewhere very efficiently or you want to study where the crowd is going because trust me the kind of mains that is coming crowd follow korile pass no hobo these type of questions that are coming structure ka to chori do content ote manuhar gol chakkar khoi dise questions are becoming increasingly difficult and we expected the question to be increasingly difficult barring Assam paper hetu pata nahi kya paper aaya barring Assam paper baki sob paper were extremely intelligent extremely well set aru hetu bostu ami coming mains to expect koribo lagibo so gone are the days of modules GS1 GS2 GS3 ebu module kam nokore ami janu joabaru kam kor nokorile heten because ebu sob integrated approach ahise except SA and kiba ebar to SA integrated approach ahise আৰু gone are the days আপুনি বলে আসাম স্পেসিফিক কোর্স পঢ়ি পাস কৰি যাব হেবো নহয় because আসাম স্পেসিফিক কোর্স নর্থ ইস্টৰ কিমান বস্তু আহিছে আপুনি দেখিছে ইন্ডিয়াৰ কিমান বস্তু আহিছে দেখিছে so gone are those days আপুনি PDF চাই পেলাই পাস কৰিব you will have to have critical analysis you will have to have critical thinking you will have to have good mentorship মই কোৱা নাই কি come to me but come go to a good mentor a mentor who cares a mentor who is actually looking at your answers যদি নহয় then it is going to be extremely difficult in coming days to pass the mains so aji analysis dilu due sele 12 tai bajibo but I will still let it out because tomorrow again I will have to do GS2 and GS3 so okay then I'll see you guys tomorrow till then like share subscribe Sandpaper Academy for civil services thank you